Hey there, this is Teacher Julian from Fibo Kids Art Academy, and welcome to another amazing art class. Today, we're going to be making a picture of a cat inside of a pumpkin. It's super cute, and I hope you have a lot of fun making it today with me. So let's go ahead and switch to my desk so that you can see what we're going to be creating. All right, so here is our picture today. It is absolutely adorable and super duper fun. What I love most about this project is the cat is cute, but it does have a little bit of like a spooky vibe to it, don't you think? So for this project, you're gonna need a piece of paper that's gonna be able to withstand watercolor because we're gonna be using watercolor in our background. You're also gonna need markers, some kind of chalk pastel, and maybe some oil pastel or crayons. Now, if you don't have one of these items today, you can use other different materials that you have as a substitute. Totally understand if you don't have everything. You're also going to need a pencil, an eraser, and a Sharpie, of course. Without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and move all of my different supplies kind of off to the side here because I don't need all of them right now. We're going to start off by learning how to draw this, and then we'll start to color. Now, I'm not going to do a practice draw today, just in the interest of time. However, you can do the drawing steps first on a piece of scratch paper. That way you can get accustomed to the drawing, and then you can do the drawing once more as your final. All right, so I'm going to be using a really large piece of illustration paper today. And again, this is going to be our final draw. So after I draw this, I'm going to go right into some coloring. And I want you to draw today with a pencil, but I'm going to be using a Sharpie just so that you can see. And I'll be letting you know what stuff you need to erase and when. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, turn your paper so that it is vertical, tall ways. And we're going to start by drawing in the cat's head, right about here on our paper. I want you to start by drawing a circle because this is actually going to give us a good idea of how to position everything else on the cat's head. It's a basic shape. Now, if at any point you need to just pause the video so that way you can go better at your own pace, please feel free to do so. All right, next we're going to go ahead and draw in its ears. Now, this cat has some very fluffy fur today, so we're going to draw two very fluffy ears on the sides of his head here, doing a curved line up and a curved line down. We're also going to draw the insides of the ear the same way. Now we're going to draw the little pumpkin that is actually on top of his head right now. To do that, you're actually going to start with the stem just to make it easy on us. We're going to go to the top here and draw an oval, pretty big. Two curved lines down and connect. Then you're going to draw a big curved line and a big curved line, and then an other curved line to connect. Now we already got a bunch of stuff we have to erase. There's going to be a lot of erasing in this project, you guys. So you're going to take your eraser and you're going to erase any part of the cat's basic shape or head that's just going through this pumpkin. Next, if you've ever cut open a pumpkin, you know that the skin is quite thick. We're going to draw two diagonal lines down and then connect as well with another oval, or excuse me, not an oval, a curved line. Then you can draw two lines like so to kind of show that texture of the pumpkin. Already looking pretty cute. Next, we're going to go ahead and draw in like the fur that's kind of coming off of his cheeks. You're going to go to the side here and draw a curved line out and in, out and in, out and in, as you go back and touch the circle. And you're going to do that on both sides. Out, in, out, in, out, in, touch the circle. And guess what? We got more stuff we got to erase. You can erase this line here and this line here. You also could erase this line and this line, like right here and here on the ears, but we're going to be coloring in our cat black today, so that's not going to matter too much for me. Next, we're going to go ahead and draw in the cat's face. We're going to start with the eyes because they're pretty fun. We're going to go to about the middle of the head and we're going to draw two curved lines like so. He looks like he's sleeping right now, doesn't he? Then you're going to draw two big rainbows, kind of round, as if you were going to make it for a circle. Then on the inside, you're going to draw another curved line. and another curved line. Now from here, you can kind of do the eyes however you want. If you want to make your eyes like super cute or anime style or super cartoonish, you can. For me, I'm gonna first add in 2 highlights like this for some very shiny cat eyes. Then I'm actually gonna draw a curved line on either side of that. That's gonna be where we see the cat's pupil. So those will be my cat eyes today. You can add eyelashes if you so desire, but for the nose, we're just gonna draw a little tiny oval right here. For the mouth, it's a curved line out and a curved line out. And now we have our cat's head. For the body, what we're gonna do first is we are actually going to draw in its paws. We're gonna draw 2 ovals, or if it's easier for you, 2 circles, right below our cat. Draw a curved line down and a curved line down to connect. 2 lines for some paws. And then we're gonna draw a curved line underneath here and a circle to make a collar. Now you could write your initial, or you could write like the initial for whatever you want to name the cat onto the collar. It's super up to you. But now we've got everything in place for us to draw the pumpkin. Now, as you saw, our cat is kind of just popping out of the pumpkin today. So we're gonna draw the opening of the pumpkin here first. For that, it's gonna have to look almost like an oval, but we're gonna do this in kind of a sneaky way. First, you're gonna draw a curved line here. Then you're gonna kind of try and imagine it coming around the other side, curving around, doing the same thing on both ends, curving around. You're gonna do the same thing again, draw a curved line. You're gonna follow that curved line over the paw, curve around. Same thing other side, follow the line, curve around. Now we have our opening. From the opening, you're gonna draw a giant curved line down and a giant curved line down. And now we have the body of the pumpkin. Now the pumpkin's face is completely up to you. You could draw triangles for eyes, you could make it frowning, smiling, doing whatever you like. It's your pumpkin to draw an expression on. I'm gonna go for a pretty classic pumpkin look and the one that is on our example today. And I'm just gonna draw a triangle for the nose. And I'm gonna draw a smile with some pumpkin teeth. Again, if you want to change it or you want to do the same, it's up to you. I am going to draw 2 curved lines to make the pumpkin kind of looking up at the cat going like, hey, how's it going, buddy? The last thing that we're going to add is we are going to add the moon. And again, you're doing this with pencil. And that's an important distinction that I make, in case you forgot, for the reason that I will talk about next. All right, so once you have all of this drawn, this is actually everything that we need today. If you want to add extra things, or you want to add like a little cattail somewhere, or you want to add extra stuff to your pumpkin or into your background, feel free to do so. But once you're ready, you're going to outline almost everything in Sharpie. Let me explain. You're going to outline the cat and the pumpkin in Sharpie, but you're not going to outline the moon in Sharpie. And the reason for that is it's going to be really far away in our background, and we're not really going to be able to see it like we do the cat and the pumpkin, because we want all the attention to be here. You also can add whiskers onto your cat, kind of like what we have here in our picture today. All right, you guys. So take some time to outline everything, pause the video, and once you resume, I'm going to take that as the go-ahead to start our next coloring step. So go ahead and pause and outline everything, and I'll see you back here in a couple minutes. All right, if you are done outlining and you're resuming the video, I think we're going to go ahead and keep going. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take my Sharpie, and for my eyes that I did on my cat, I'm going to fill this part in with black. Now cat eyes are pretty interesting. If you have a cat at home, you've probably seen them. They have this really interesting ring around their eyes that we've kind of exaggerated like pretty severely here in our picture. Humans have this as well. And again, it's not as severe as this. So if you look in like a mirror, you might be able to see that you might have a ring around your iris. Not everybody has it, of course. Mine, I know I have one and it's pretty dramatic. You probably can't tell though because I'm very small on your screen right now. But it's a fun kind of thing to look out for. Stay curious about the way that things are. I'm now going to take out my markers and I'm going to use a green to fill in this center part of the eye, kind of where we have the color. So fill in your cat's eyes. I'm also going to fill in the nose and the ears. You can do this in pink or in red or whatever color you'd like. Let's see, I do believe I have pink in here somewhere, but I think it's like hidden. Aha, there you are. And again, I'm just going to fill in the little ears with that. With marker, even though it's a pretty easy material to use, we want to make sure that we're using it neatly. Okay, and what I mean by that is all of our strokes go the same direction or look intentional. We don't want to make it all scribble scrabbly because then our picture looks kind of a mess. All right, next we are going to fill in this little stem up top here with a green. You can use a dark green or you could even use brown if you want. It's part of a pumpkin after all. So I'm going to kind of do some curved strokes for the inside there. Outline the inside, or rather the outsides. And then I'm going to do some very neat strokes to fill that in there. The next color I'm going to be using is I am going to use black. And I'm going to use this to fill in the entire cat today. We've got a spooky black cat. I'm going to go ahead and start by outlining the insides because this will make it easier for me to do my strokes later. If I don't do this step, I'll kind of be very much slowed down, trying to make all of my strokes really even while looking out for the edge. Now, because I'm left-handed and because I always smudge my markers, I'm going to start from the top and do the outline, then I'll kind of work on the outline on the bottom and fill it in. So I'm going to outline all the important stuff on the top of the cat first. And kind of make it easier for me not to smudge. Getting around the eye. Okay. So for me today, I'm going to try and do my strokes in a way that kind of mimics the look of cat fur. For you, if that seems a little bit tricky, you can actually just make sure all of your strokes go in one direction, and that will still make your picture look neat. Starting from the cat's nose, I'm going to do strokes outward, like so. And I'm going to make them really long. Kind of all that fur originating almost as if from the nose. Then moving in tall strokes from one side to the next, kind of curving around with the eye. I'm going to fill in the fur this way. So you can see I started going up and down, and then as I kind of curved around, I've actually started to do more horizontal strokes. For the ears, I will do my strokes in the direction that the ears are going, making sure to fill in any white spaces as I go. And this can be kind of tricky if you've never thought about doing your strokes this way before. But I do encourage you to give it a try because it can lend itself to the look of the fur. This part you definitely might have to concentrate on, so it's okay if it takes a little bit of time. All right, this cat is looking pretty good. I love a little fluffy black cat. And then, once we start getting towards the bottom of the cat, this already kind of looks like how a cat would anyway, that's black and white instead. As I mentioned, because I'm going to be doing my strokes kind of with the intention of making it look like fur, my strokes are going to start changing quite a bit onto the face. Once I get to right about here, this is where my strokes actually start to go a little bit more downward. So I'm going to be pretty careful with applying my marker now, making sure it stays super duper neat. You may also find that you lose a little bit of your mouth. It might be kind of hard to see now. The Sharpie is, for the most part, and usually, a different or darker color of black than your marker will be, typically, not always. So you might still be able to see the mouth, it just might be very dark. Worry not, because we will be putting the mouth back later. That way we'll be able to see it a bit better too. So all my strokes now are kind of going back up and down instead of horizontally. Now what I'm doing is I'm going back and I'm filling in any teeny tiny little white spaces and filling them in. We also need to fill in the body. So I'm going to outline around the collar, around the paws, even though the paws are just going to end up being black anyway, but it's good to stay neat. And then doing up and down strokes for the body, filling it in. Okay. All right, and then the paws will be the last thing on the cat that we fill in with the black. There's a lot of marker in this step, you guys, and we're going to be using a lot of black marker. In fact, we're still going to use it for one more thing in our picture after our cat. You probably already know what it is. Just make sure on this last part here that your strokes are tall. They go up and down and up and down. And then our cat is all filled in. We're going to use the black marker also to fill in the eyes of our pumpkin. Now you could make the pumpkin look like it's glowing on the inside and fill in with like a yellow, but my pumpkin today is like a very classic looking pumpkin where it's going to be an orange pumpkin, but the nose and the eyes are going to be filled in with black. Okay. Still outlining, still trying my best to keep everything neat, and just trying to get all these little white spaces that keep popping up. All right, time to fill in the mouth. Again, just outlining that inside, giving us a little cushion and working with it that way. And so far, I haven't made a smudge on my hand. So far, so good. Let's keep it up. If you do accidentally end up with a smudge, it's not the end of the world. We're going to be putting other colors on top of these different areas later, so it's probably going to get covered up. All right, so we've got this part here, and we are done using the black marker. Now we're going to use one last marker, and we're just going to fill in the collar and the tag on our cat. I'm going to do orange, typical Halloween colors, but you can use whatever color you like. You could even do purple. Purple may not it may not stand out as much against the black, but again, it's your cat, so you can do what you like. Just make an informed decision about which color you're going to use. And with that, that's all that we need the marker for. We're now going to go ahead and switch on over to using some chalk pastel. For the chalk pastel, we're going to be using this to fill in like the different parts of the pumpkin. I'm going to set them over here. Let's go ahead and start with our lighter colors first. We need to fill in this kind of rim on the pumpkin piece here and the inside of the pumpkin. I recommend either a yellow or like this kind of cream color if you have a large chalk pastel set. And just do like a stroke right there, stroke here, stroke there. Oh, and also if you drew your pumpkin's eyes like me, inside of the pumpkin's eyes, one finger, blend just to make it smooth. Next, we're going to use orange. And you are going to first outline the sides. Then you can kind of put it flat on its side to get all of that goodness in. Now, pro tip with the chalk pastel is, first of all, be careful, it's messy. But the second thing is you will only really know how much chalk pastel you need if you put it all down at once. So instead of like putting a little bit of chalk pastel blending, put a little bit of chalk pastel blending, put all of the chalk pastel on your pumpkin first. And then once you've blended everything and you find out, hey, it doesn't look quite right, I think I need more, that's what you want to do. It helps you go faster and kind of see how your colors are going to look a little bit better. All right, it's looking good. I'm going to take one finger, but you can take up to two, and I'm going to carefully blend. I don't want to accidentally get the chalk pastel into my background. And even if I did, I would just very carefully either erase it or blend it away. These bigger areas, you can definitely feel free to use two fingers and just make sure to blend in little circles. If we blend like this super fast, your color actually doesn't end up looking super smooth. So try your best to move in little circles like this. Once you get the hang of it, you'll start to go at a pretty decent speed. All right, any extra dust you have, you can just tap onto the table, or you can toss in your garbage if you're close by it. And now we're gonna add just a little bit of some detail onto the pumpkin with some chalk pastel. For this, you can use, if you have a darker orange, you can use a darker orange, or you can just use red. You're gonna go onto those kind of ridges on the pumpkin. And then down here, we're gonna make our own. Just gonna draw in those lines with the chalk pastel. One finger, you're just gonna basically pass over it just so that it's smooth. We're not trying to blend it away, we're just trying to make it look smooth, that's all. And that's it. That's all we're gonna use the chalk pastel for. Again, any extra dust you have, just tap, tap, tap onto the table, and you should be good. We are now going to transition into using some oil pastels. Now for the oil pastel, we're not going to be using too much of it. It's really just here to add in some little highlights and little finishing touches. Let's start with the white, and it's going to be the only oil pastel color that we're using today. With this white oil pastel, I want you to add just strokes onto your cat's ears. You're going to add just a stroke onto the side of the cat's face, onto the whiskers the whole way, even the parts of the whiskers that are currently on a white background. We'll be able to see it later. Your mouth, and to your paw. If you want it to look like the cat's arms are all bunched up, you can add a little highlight here and here. If you have like lots of extra fur, you can add it onto that as well. Next, you're going to take your white oil pastel, same one, and you are going to completely fill in your moon. Now, it might be kind of hard to see this because it's white oil pastel on white paper. The white oil pastel is a slightly different white than the white paper, so you should be able to see kind of where it's going. So do your best to just fill that in as solid as you can. Then you're going to go all around your background and add little tiny dots of white oil pastel. Again, you're probably not really going to be able to see it too much right now, but soon you will be in our next step. Once you've added all that white, it's time for the final material, which is going to be watercolor. With our watercolor, we're going to make a gradient for our sky. You also could do one color, I suppose, if you wanted, but gradients are fun. We're going to get our brush nice and wet, starting off with a purple, any purple you like, or even a dark blue. we're gonna apply this towards the bottom of our picture, and we kind of want it to go about halfway. What's great is that you're gonna go right over those white little stars that we added, those white circles, and they're gonna show up right away. It might be kind of hard to see on my paper, but you'll be able to see them on yours. The one thing you are also going to have to be careful for is just make sure that you don't accidentally go over your cat too much. We used water-soluble markers today, which means those markers will blend away when they mix with water. So we definitely want to be careful of the edges there. Now the trick to getting a beautiful gradient is, again, be mindful of your strokes and having them all go the same direction. So today I'm trying to make sure all of my purple strokes are horizontal, going side to side. As I get kind of closer to the top here, I'll kind of let the color run out on my brush, and that's what creates that color going from dark to light. It's just letting that color run out as I get closer and closer and closer to the top. If you have any watercolor puddles, please spread them out carefully. And once we get kind of close to the top here, we're going to switch colors. We're going to use a red violet. Some of you might think of this as pink. If you don't have a red violet, that's okay. You can just use a color that is maybe similar to purple but lighter. So you could use a light blue, you could use pink if you wanted to, or you could even use red. But I'm going to apply this all on the top. I can go right over the moon because we did it with oil pastel, so it's still going to be there even if I put watercolor on top of it. And as I get close to that purple, I can kind of take that pink, or excuse me, the red violet, and go over that spot, and that's going to help them look like they're all kind of blended together. Now do be careful as you do this. A common thing that happens is that someone might use too much water, and so you end up with like a puddle, or your paper is starting to crumble a little bit with those little white speckles. That means there was too much water involved. So just be mindful of how much water is on your brush as you go to do this. Once you're happy with how your gradient looks, that is the final step, and that concludes our project for today. Of course, if there are any other little extra stuff that you want to add in, please feel free to do so, and that'll be the end of your project. I hope you had fun creating this Halloween cat with me, and I will see you all again very soon for another art class. Bye for now!